So we are going to discuss active and passive voice. Can anybody tell me what is voice? Yes?
In a form of verb which shows us what the subject does or what done to a subject.
Okay. Voice is the form of verb that shows whether the subject does something or something is done to the subject. Ali, can you tell me what is active voice?
Active voice is a form of verb which can show that what the subject.
Which shows what the subject is doing or does. Active voice is the form of verb which shows what the subject does. Qasim, can you give me an example? A sentence where the subject does something.
Example, Ali speaks.
Ali
Speaks.
speaks. Ali speaks. It is an active voice sentence because it shows what the subject Ali does. Ali does what? Speaks. Okay, sit down. What is passive voice?
Passive voice is a form of verb which shows us whether something is done to the subject.
Okay, a passive voice sentence or passive voice is the form of verb that shows what is done to the subject. Can anybody give me an example? Yes?
Qasim is invited.
Qasim is invited. Okay, now in this sentence, Qasim isn't doing anything. Actually, he is invited by someone. Qasim is not the doer of the action, he is the receiver of the action. Somebody invited Qasim, which is not mentioned in this sentence. So Qasim is invited is a passive sentence. Okay, now if I write a sentence, let's say for example, Ali invites Qasim. Can we change this sentence into passive voice? Yes, sir. Why? I mean, okay, if I write the first sentence, which was Ali speaks, and I add to it Ali speaks loudly. Which of these two sentences can be changed into passive voice? Sentence 1 or sentence 2? Which one? Sentence 2. Why can't sentence 1 be changed? What is the reason?
So the first one can also change.
Remember, you can only change a sentence from active into passive voice if there is an object of the verb.
Yes.
So, is there any object in the first sentence? No.
No.
So, it cannot be changed. That means that the verb speaks is used intransitively, and you can only change a sentence from active into passive voice if the verb is used transitively. And transitive verb means a verb used with its object. And you know how to find out the object. You just have to put what or who after the verb. If there is an answer, then there is an object. Let's say for example, Ali speaks what? Is there an answer? No. Ali speaks who? Is there an answer? But in the second sentence, Ali invited who? Qasim. So Qasim is the object, and we can change the second sentence into passive voice. Can anybody change this into passive voice? Yes?
Qasim
Qasim
is invited by Ali.
is invited by Ali. Sit down. Very good. Qasim is invited by Ali. Now, just check or just look at the changes we have made in this sentence. What changes have we made here? Yes. Qasim, which was the object in the original sentence, has become subject in the passive voice. Second change,
We added a form of be.
we have changed the form into the past participle, the third form or the past participle. Then we have put by before the object in passive, and then we have made the subject in active, the object in passive. And the last one, which is the most important one, remember, any sentence where be is followed by the past participle or the third form, which we call the third form, is called passive voice. A sentence in which be, one of the forms of be, whether that is be or is, am, are or was, were or been or being, if these forms of be are followed by the third form or the past participle of the main verb, then it will be passive voice. So you can see we have put is here. So this is the main requirement. If you remove is from this sentence, then it will be not right. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, which tense is this? I mean, in the sentence 2 or 1, both of them. Which tense is used in these two sentences?
Present simple.
Present simple. How do you realize or recognize simple present?
By the form of
If the subject is followed by the present form of the verb, the tense will be simple present. You can see speaks is the present form of the verb, then invites is also the present form of the verb. Okay, now let's do the active and passive voice in simple present, but before that we will also discuss simple present tense. What time or what things do we talk about in simple present? Remember, we talk about habits, routines and facts. Present habits, present routines or facts in simple present tense. Clear? Do you know habits? Yes, habits. Routines, things you do every day at a particular time, that is called routine, and habits are things that you do every time and every day. There are people who will always spit. That is a habit.
Yes.
So if you say he spits, so that is a habit. You're talking about his habit. He bites his nails. That is also a habit. And routine, I go to school, my father goes to college, my sister goes to a university. So these are these people's routines. Routines have fixed times and habits don't have fixed times. Clear? And then facts. Facts are things that are true everywhere and every time. Let's say, for example, the sun rises in the east. So is it a fact?
Yes.
Yes, sir. So it's a fact. The dogs bark at the strangers. Do they bark at the strangers? Yes. So that is again a fact. Mothers love their children. Again, a fact. What will be the structure of simple present tense? I mean, what will be the order of the words or what will be the form of the verb used in simple present tense? Remember, the subject will be followed by the present form of the verb. The verb will be in present form. Let's suppose we have a verb go, then the present forms are go and goes. So we'll either use go or goes. If the subject is he, she, it or singular noun, then the verb will be added with s or es. Clear?
Yes.
And if the subject is I, we, you, they or plural noun, then we'll just use the plural form or present form of the verb. I go, she goes. Clear now? Okay. What will be the negative structure of the sentence? The subject will be followed by do or does plus not and then followed by the verb in the present but without s or es. S or es will not be added to it when you put does in the sentence. He, she, it and singular nouns are followed by does not and then the present form of the verb. I, we, you, they and plural nouns are followed by do not and then the present form of the verb. And remember, there will be no s or es with the verb. Clear now?
yes, sir.
And then we have the question sentences or interrogative. Put do or does at the start of the sentence, then subject and then followed by the verb. Which form? Present. And then followed by whatever comes after it, but at the end of the sentence there should be a question mark or a sign of interrogation. Clear? This is the structure of the tense. Now moving towards its passive structures. Okay, now active and passive voice in simple present tense. What did I say? What will be the subject, the structure of the sentence? Subject followed by verb, present form. But one other thing, what kind of sentences can we change into passive voice? Sentences in which the verb is followed by the object. So this structure cannot be changed into passive voice only if we say subject followed by the verb in the present form followed by the object. This sentence can be changed into passive voice. Now, do you remember the changes? The object will become the subject. So, and the verb will be third form. Then we say the subject will become object and we'll put by before it, but we'll also have to use one of the forms of be. So let's write an example here that follows the same structure. She writes a letter. What is the subject? She. What is the verb? Writes. And what is the object? A letter. So a letter will become the subject. So we put a letter here. A letter. Now don't put the be form of the verb. Say the verb is writes. So writes will become written. And then by she will become the object her. Now we lack one thing, and that is the form of be. What form of be will I use here? The present form. Because the main verb is in the present form. So you have to use the same form of the be that is used in the main verb. But remember, only in affirmative sentences. In negative and interrogative sentences, we'll talk about them later. You will have to look at the helping verb as well as the main verb. Clear? So here the main verb is in the present. So we'll use the present form of be, but because the subject later is singular, so we'll use is. Clear?
Yes, sir.
So this, look at this. The object became the subject. The verb was changed into the past participle. By is put before the object in passive. The subject has become the object, and then one of the form of be. But because we are talking about simple present, so in simple present you will use the simple present form of be. That is am and are. But you have to look at the subject. If the subject is singular, it is. Should be followed by is. If it is plural, should be followed by are. And if the subject is I, then it will be followed by am. And that's all. We'll discuss the negative and interrogative in the next class. But I'm sure they'll be very easy because you already know the changes, you already know the rules, how to change a sentence from active into passive. So that will be easy, inshallah. Okay, thank you.